Take your position. The show is about to start.
Ladies and gentlemen,
welcome to On Screen, where we discuss all things cinema all the time. Here's your hosts.
your award goes to
Joe Brunett, Joe Cuffney, and Jesse Reichenstein. Lights, camera, action.
All right, this week we are talking about The Addams Family from 1991.
Aha! Showtime! It's a miserable night.
I know, darling. Children, put down that antenna.
Uncle Fester, may I have the salt?
What do we say?
Now.
Unhappy, darling.
Oh, yes. Yes, completely.
There's lots to learn. Look, children.
Children, what are you doing?
I'm going to electrocute him.
I said no.
Please?
Oh, all right. Don't torture yourself, Gomez. That's my job.
Cara mia, savage.
Is this made from real lemons? Yes. I'll buy a cup if you buy a box of my delicious Girl Scout cookies. Are they made from real Girl Scouts?
And this was a da-na-na-na. Great theme song. Let's start off by saying that.
Iconic. Yeah.
It's so iconic and it's so catchy and it's so memorable. Now Jesse picked this one. Have you guys seen this before? Joe, I feel like you have. Jesse, you've seen this too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the Addams Family.
Okay. I was just curious because I know there's some movies where I'm like, oh, you probably have seen this. And like, no.
I hadn't seen it in a very long time though. And like
Okay.
I only really remembered like chunks of it.
Mm-hmm. This is
So-
one we watch every October. We usually watch both of them, the first one and the second one, but this is definitely in the rotation of Halloween movies.
This is coming out October 1st, so we're kicking off spooky season with it.
Yes, we can't forget that. October 1st.
Orange Cat. It's not really black cat.
Not a black, yeah. It doesn't really-
But it's like orange pumpkin.
Make it a thing.
Like,
But it is funny because this movie came out in 91 and we were pretty young at that point. And
non-existent. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not alive. Yeah.
I remember seeing these movies, and obviously as a kid, you don't look for what was made before or prior. So obviously this is based on a TV show, which I wasn't super familiar with because I was more of a Munsters person. I know that's a whole like Munsters, Addams Family kind of thing. I've always watched the Munsters, but I did watch a couple of Addams Family, but I wasn't super familiar with it. So that's something I definitely want to revisit, specifically because Sean Astin's dad plays Gomez in the TV show.
Oh,
very
interesting.
interesting.
So he's like the OG Gomez. But I think this is also based on a comic, or was the or some kind of book?
Based on a New Yorker cartoon, a series of New Yorker cartoons
Okay.
in like the early 1900s, which is also why when I found that out, I was like, oh, maybe that has to do with why I love it too, because I love New Yorker cartoons. I grew up in a family who always had them cut out, and we'd go through all the New Yorker cartoons. My grandma would bring us New Yorker cartoons.
Now, did your grandma, because my grandpa did this, did he or he wrap Christmas gifts in like comics, in like the newspaper comics?
Well, no, she'd bring them out, but my mom is notorious for that.
Is that
she wraps a present and then she cuts the cartoon out and like glues it on.
Okay.
And, like
okay.
stickers and stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. For us, it was just the newspaper, but there were comics like intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
That was always a classic.
Oh, super classic. Oh, side note, random too. Life goal of mine is to have a New Yorker cartoon. Published.
Make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. When I told my mom that, she said, "Oh, do you make cartoons?" And I said, "No." So
Jesse, the Adam Sandler Family.
We're getting there. The Adam Sandler Family.
I would read that.
But it did start as a New Yorker cartoon. There was no names. It was just like a play on like this really weird aristocratic family, like satire. And then when the TV show in the 60s, I think started.
I think you're right.
That is like when they actually got like names, I believe, and like the characters,
Gotcha.
really developed their own characters.
Okay. That's fascinating. I didn't know. I feel like this is a very good, like, because I'm not the biggest fan of like combining horror and comedy, but I know, and this isn't really a horror, but it definitely does a really good job of having both elements in it, because it just, I don't know, it's very up my alley in like the humor aspect of it, I feel like, which is like, I don't know. I thought it was really good. Now,
how would you characterize this kind of humor? Because like I was trying to like, dark humor is not right because it's not dark. But it's like, how do you say what this kind of humor is? Like I was really struggling to like characterize it with like words.
That's a very good question. I don't know. It's not dark, but it's on that same path.
It's goofy, but it's like trying to be like like I don't know. It's almost like dad jokes, but like for but like the opposite of like good is like bad, but not like bad as in they're a bad joke. It's just like they're about something that's bad that they want to happen.
Right.
I don't know how to say that.
Well, it's like pushing the line, but for kids. And it made me really think of, I'll talk about this separate documentary after the fact, but it made me think a lot about Nickelodeon and the style of it. Like you're saying, the comedy too, and how Nickelodeon, like I was very much a Nickelodeon kid growing up, not a Disney kid. That has kind of come up before. And like, but Nickelodeon was this anti-Disney, like, especially when you look back now, the comedy and stuff was like, they were very pushing the edge of like what even should be on TV for kids and stuff. And this idea of just this like play on it and that whole vibe, like I got that feel from Addams Family too. Like if you're a kid, a lot of it's funny and stuff too, because it's like very like, they shouldn't be doing a lot of this stuff.
Right.
Or just like the whole style. But one of my favorite things is when Wednesday is gonna electrocute him, or so, and they're like, they say something basically like, stop, like, or we gotta go or something. She's like, oh, but I was gonna electrocute him. She's like, okay, once, and then.
But if he's not Uncle Fester, then who is he? Somebody else. It has to warm up. Why? So it can kill you. I knew that.
Children, what are you doing?
I'm going to electrocute him.
But we're late for the charity auction.
But, Mother...
I said no.
Please?
Oh, all right.
The kids were really funny.
They're so funny. Like going along with that, Jesse, I feel like I wrote this down. Like, I feel like this movie's so good because in that way it does relate to kids and adults. Like, but because like when I, growing up watching this, half of the things they said I didn't get. You don't get that. Like, for example, I wrote this one. He said, like 2, 10, 11 is the vault code. Eyes, fingers, toes. Like that would never have made sense to me. Like 2 eyes, 10 fingers, 11 toes. You don't think about the 11 toes as being abnormal, but it is for the Addams Family. And it's like just like a little thing here and there. And that's like throughout the whole movie. And I was like, oh, this is funny. Like no kid would get that. Like, I don't know. It's just funny.
Yeah.
But the cast though, perfect.
So good.
I wouldn't have cast anyone else for these roles for sure.
There was great cast. And then I was like looking at the cast afterwards too, because I was like, these are a lot of people that like, were in other stuff. And as soon as I saw Uncle Fester was Christopher Lloyd, who's like Doc Brown.
Yeah.
In Back to the Future and like stuff like that. I'm like, just couldn't unsee it. I was like kind of looking it up while I was watching. And then it was one of those where you're like, oh yeah, that's all I see now.
That's all you see. Yeah. Yeah. It's Yeah, it's pretty good. We were trying to figure out what nationality they were because Gomez is like they do like that Russian dance, but they also do like some Hispanic things. And then there's also these, I don't know. We were just trying to figure out what, and some of their friends were just random nationalities. We're like, what is going on here? It's kind of great though. I love how ambiguous it is.
Yeah, I bet it is probably supposed to be somewhat ambiguous.
Yeah,
and especially
their
because it
whole
started as like a
family is
satire based on like
right.
this like this generic aristocratic family.
Which is funny because it's so funny. Like something that really never clicked with me before is how normal people like this family was normal to other people, even though they were weird. Like they had like with the hand and all this random stuff, like the gate that attacks people. That's just normal to people, like walking up, like they expect it for, like they know the Addams and they're like, oh, they have weird things going on. And I never clicked with me where I was like, wait, this is very supernatural. Like a normal person just wouldn't walk to their house and be like, oh, the gate tried to close me in. Okay, I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Like, but then I was like, the grandma probably bewitched everything, right? I assume. I don't know, just because she's the witch. I don't know. But
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I do want to go back and watch the TV show. I wonder if that would give any additional context to like that kind of stuff. But like, I feel like for this, I just kind of like accepted all that and just enjoyed it, you know?
And I think that's what's great about it. It's like it's just part of the normal for them. Like it's just part of their life, and you just deal with it, and everyone else deals with it too, which is great.
To get into my favorite scene that I forgot, I like did not remember at all, that I love is the play. Yeah. When the kids are playing, and then he like gets cut and there's blood spewing, and then she like gets her like, foot cut off and it's just spraying, and then she cuts his arm off, and it's just going on like a normal kids play. And it's like kind of like that like Monty Python-esque scene I always think about where he's getting cut off, but for whatever reason that scene killed me.
A hit! A very powerful hit! Oh, proud death! What feast is torn in thine eternal cells? Sweet oblivion! Open your arms!
It is very similar to Monty Python. I guess that's the humor, similar to humor. Like that. That's a good comparison. It's because it's funny, but it's also kind of brutal.
It's like it's just a flesh
in
wound.
a funny way.
In a funny way, exactly. Oh yeah, that's so fun. That's a great scene. I always forget about that. I think one of my favorites is the seance scene, because like when Lurch is playing the piano, the organ, like to the tone of the room, when it's getting louder, he's just like this.
I love that.
I love that so much.
Fester Addams, I demand that you knock again.
He's at the door!
I always thought it would be funny if like you had like someone doing like that, or like somebody like from like 100 feet behind you, just like narrating your life. Like if like Morgan Freeman was just following you and being like, yes, and now he's walking down the road, and
right,
like I just always thought that would be funny. But like I feel like this is that. He was just playing to the conversation and like adjusting the tone of the music to whatever was being said.
It's amazing. Yeah. And it's funny because like that's like his job. Like they expect him to do that.
I got Matilda vibes a lot.
Yeah. Same around, right? Because Matilda was 2000s or late 90s or something.
Yeah, I think it was 90s still.
Okay, 94.
Maybe
Earlier. Yeah, I mean, definitely similar vibes for sure. Oh, we also, same with Matilda, relating to that, we realized that these films in like this early 90s and mid 90s, late 90s, they love that like riding shot where it's riding towards the person. Like the camera's going fast and it's like on an arrow or something. And it's like,
Yeah.
and Matilda does that with the carrot, the carrot in his mouth. Like that shot is very, very overdone in this time. And I feel they used it like 3 or 4 times in this movie, which I love. It's funny, but it's very, it's like a staple to that time period. I feel like in these types of movies.
It's always great to notice the like trends.
Yeah. I also love the like the little skits kind of throughout that are so random. Like, for example, when Pugsley removes the stop sign and he like brings it downstairs and they're all just like quiet and they just crash and it's like that's so random, but it's so good.
Bravo, Pugsley!
That's what, like when I was like trying to piece together what I remembered about this one, I was like, one of the things I kind of forgot was just like how random it was like that. Like, I feel like I was trying to like derive, because I always like to think about this as like movies about as stories, and like I really felt this was a lot more of just like a character study and like a random collection of things. Like yeah, there was the whole story with Fester and everything, but like I feel like a lot of it was more just like watching the Addams family like exist and do their weird things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Which
I
I
feel like
love.
that was almost more entertaining than the story part, I would say.
I agree. And that's another reason why I want to watch the show, because I feel like the show is just a bunch of episodes with those types of skits. And I feel like since they're probably like a 20-minute episode because they're from 60s. So
That's like, yeah, to get at what we were talking about like right before we started, when I was like, I don't even know what the story was, or like, the whole story
Right.
was. You kind of, it's just one of those movies you put on.
I think that's not, I think you're right. The story's not even that big of a part of it, to be honest. It's literally just like the family, like you were saying, Joe. And it's like, I don't know. I love that. I think that's awesome because it's so different.
Yeah.
And I know it's not Tim Burton, but I know the whole time I kept going, Tim Burton. I don't know why, but I mean, I think
I get that.
The new one.
I get that with a lot of Halloween movies, because like I feel like Tim Burton is like a plurality of Halloween movies, like
Of spooky.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice, Nightmare Before Christmas, or
Yep.
like all of those different ones.
Definitely. 100%. Yeah. I don't know. I loved it. The house was awesome. The set design. Oh, this was nominated for an Oscar for costume design.
Oh,
Didn't
Cool.
win, unfortunately,
Makes
but
sense.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Makes sense why it was nominated, though. I get that.
Yeah. It did really, I mean, the house was really well designed, and that was built for we'll get to this later for locations, but it was built for the movie. So that was kind of cool.
That is cool.
oh, super cool.
Yeah. But
Other
Yeah.
random thing I was going to say along like years too. Nothing but when they were driving through the city. Yeah, like it's so distinct that I think it's like any 90s movie in a city, but it was like that like TMNT.
Yeah.
It's just that general vibe you get from like 90s city, but there's so many movies, or like Mystery Men, or like just so many ones we've watched where I'm like, oh yeah.
It's a specific
You can
vibe. I
just
totally
walk
get
right
it.
as soon as you see it, you're like 90s city.
We should do like a top 10 favorite 90s city moment in movies.
We really got to get on our lists game and just
Honestly,
start
we should.
compiling lists.
We should do that. But I something I love about when they're in the city, when they're in like the motel, I think it's great. I love seeing them out of their element, because like they're still in a real society, like a realistic society, but it's just this weird ass family with like all these weird abilities and random things that no one can explain and they don't want to explain, and everyone just kind of rolls with it. And it's like, okay, cool. Like this kid selling lemonade, they were so funny. It's just so good. It I don't know. It's not Wes Anderson, but it kind of gave me a little vibes of Wes. Like if he kind of went more of like a horrific theme, I guess I could see him doing like an Addams Family style.
I know what you mean. I think like a lot of
Maybe
that's
humor.
just how a lot of the like shots are framed, and like
Yeah.
like sometimes it feels less like story flowy and more just like this is the focus. Like I don't know. It feels a little more artistic in how it's all pieced together.
100%. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. So, yep, for sure. I thought the something that was weird that's always weird to me is when they're going down the slide, that music that plays.
Playmate, come on and play with me. And bring your dolly three. Climb up my apple tree. Look down my rainbow. Slide down my cellar. And we'll be jolly friends forever.
What is that music?
I don't know. I was like, this is the kind of safe I would want though. Like, like pull back the book, go down the slide, pull the right chain.
Yeah, that would be, and it's
open the brandy.
The brandy, yeah. The basement is so big. I would love a little like place to row a little boat. That would be so fun. In like a little spooky area. That's awesome.
The Addams Family house is just like an iceberg. Like 10% of it is above ground.
I guess they have the whole graveyard too.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of great. I would love to see like other characters, like their ancestors. I would love to see characters before them. Just to, like, I love this world. I love the I love the families. I just would love to see more of that.
That'd be cool to go back. Like when they went to the school, and they were like, it was like the presidents as people they admired and stuff. And then it was like, and Wednesday chose their like, some great aunt or something. And it was just this black drawing with everything coming out. And she's like, oh yeah, she did this. And then it was like burned and.
Oh, also going along with weird scenes that didn't really make sense, but were awesome. The train set scene.
Yeah.
And now since there was a guy on the train, is there like a little world inside of that? Or was that just like a random weird thing?
I noticed that too. And I was like, I was like, why show that? Right. And it like made me think, but then I'm like, oh, I'm way overthinking this. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like, I think they were just like it's just one of those quirky things that, because like, it was just like a half a second they showed it and then that was it.
And the guy wasn't phased at all. He was just like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I love those types of moments, which I think this movie is perfect for.
Do we have locations for this?
I mean, I think the lot was in California somewhere near Universal.
And it was just all studio.
Yeah. I mean, I think the motel's real. We don't have that, but I'll have to do some deep dive into the locations. Because one of our followers, I don't know if he listens or not, but he sent me some photos of when the film was being shot, and him and his sister went to go see the building of the house and the set. So that was pretty cool. Really cool. I know. I would love to see this house. Like, that would be so cool. They need to have more like haunted houses. Addams house. I think they tore it down.
They just built it and then tore it down.
That's what they do, man, for movies, man. They do that. It's crazy. Unless it's on like a set, like a Universal lot. I feel like they do that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, for example, so Rob Zombie's doing the new Monsters movie, and they're in Budapest right now he's literally building the whole town, like the whole street. He's building houses for each. It's insane. And they're probably just going to rip it down after they build houses. It's insane.
So crazy.
Actually, that's interesting. Because like, I mean, like most areas I feel like have housing shortages now. Just like build for the movie and then leave it. And then you could have this whole town from a movie.
That's what I'm saying. That'd be so cool.
That would be so cool. Yeah.
So cool. I'm all about that. But
what house would you live in though? That's the question.
That's a great question.
Would you live in the Addams Family house?
That is another great question, because as much as I want to say yes, I am a germaphobe and there's a lot of spider webs everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
So I do like a week there.
I would stay the night for sure.
Maybe Addams Family, like short-term rental or something.
Yeah, an experience.
Really short-term rental. I would sleep on the couch in the living room. We'll see.
Yeah, I would sleep in the serving dish or whatever that kid slept.
Yeah, right. Did you guys have a favorite character, or like did you kind of like everybody?
I love the kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say that as well, but specifically, what's her name? The daughter,
Wednesday.
Yeah, she was probably my favorite.
She's so funny, and she's.
I like the boy too.
Yeah, they're both so good.
But the dynamic between I liked the dynamic between Morticia and Gomez as well. Actually, I did really like Gomez. I thought he was particularly funny.
Dude, I could see you being Gomez-y.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right.
And I love it. You guys should be them for Halloween.
That would actually be
This
really
is probably
fun.
like the most iconic Halloween. We always talk about good Halloween costumes, but like, like specifically like Wednesday Addams. It's
Mhm.
iconic.
Yeah, you don't
Halloween.
really see the family. You see Wednesday. You see a lot of Wednesday.
a lot.
And I kind of like, I know it's used a lot, but I would love to do it at some point, like the whole family kind of costume.
That
Maybe
when
a-
I have
A
kids,
good group one, you know.
it'd be such a good one with kids too, though. Like if you dressed your two kids up as, the kids, and like then you were Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%. I think that'd be so good. I love about Morticia. I think she's probably one of my favorites just because I don't know, she's great, but she makes everything seem sexy, which is hilarious. Like, I don't know how she does it, but it's really impressive.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I'm about it. But I don't have a favorite character, but I think they're all just funny. I think like going along with like the second one, I don't know if you guys have seen the second one or not.
Not in forever.
Okay. I don't know. Me and Jojo were just talking about this. I think we like that one maybe a little better just because Fester is himself in that one. Like this one, you don't really get the full Fester, which I think is my kind of like, I love like this movie's so good, but I feel like I just wish we had more Fester, like actual Fester. I don't really like that he's kind of like the quote unquote villain just because I don't know. I agree with Joe. You're saying about the story, like the story, I guess Jesse also said it. The story is not like as important. It's like, I just want to see the characters do their thing. I don't really want to see a story.
Yeah, I just want to see them like exist for
Yeah.
like a week. Like I don't really like the things they do are interesting enough on their own. They don't really need a story.
No, they really don't.
I didn't even mean to do this with this pick. I just had to, kick off spooky season.
Mm-hmm.
But how before I was always like, I just like movies that just like they exist and it's a world like Wes Anderson or like Best in Show. It's just like character driven and it's just there. This is kind of, like you were saying, aligns with that almost.
Maybe it's your thing.
I think it is deep subconscious too, because I'm not even
You're not even thinking about it.
not even trying at this point.
I mean, yeah, I'm not opposed.
Do we want to do ratings? Anything
Sure.
else?
I'm trying to think. No, I think no. We can do ratings. Jesse, kick us off.
This might be, well, no, we've given 10s before. So this is probably one of my highest rated ones, actually.
Wow. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. Happy, but surprised.
But I mean, I gave Inside a 10. I don't know what I gave Best in Show. It was up there.
You gave it, I think, like an 8 or 9.
Yeah, probably 9. I give a lot of things an 8, I feel like.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm not giving it an 11. I'd love to be able to give it an 11 toes. It does not cross over that level for me. Like with 2 tusks, that feels like it could be right, but
Okay.
I'm going like I'll go 9.25 because I was going between 9 and 9.5.
You guys in your mini
Decimals.
decimals.
Well, I don't know. I really was going to 9.5 and then I was second guessing it, but 2.5 for now.
All right.
It's up there. It's in the 9s for sure. I love this. I mean, I think it's come up as we've talked about it, just like the character driven world. It's all just funny. It's not
Right.
It's just like a fun world. I love story. Like, I just love the idea of like the outsider family that's weird and different, but it does still perfectly exist within society as well. It's not like it's some weird, strange family who like hides from the public kind of deal. It's like, I love the story where it's like they're weird and different, but they're just still part of the society. The kids are, I just think it's so funny. Like the kids are so good.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like the school play, like it was just, I remember I've always liked the Addams Family. Just like I always knew the idea of it.
Mm-hmm.
Even was like, oh yeah, I love that, and like all the movies and stuff. So going into it, but then rewatching it really for like the first time, I was like, oh, this is like even better than I thought. I just thought it'd be good, but I was like actually laughing. So great movie. I think it holds up for sure.
Yes.
And will remain one of my top October movies. Maybe this will be a once a year thing. I think it will be now. I think this will be a once a year thing.
Add it to the rotation.
I don't think I have any once a year movies, and I think this is the first one. So.
Really? You don't have any once a year movies?
I mean,
Congratulations.
yeah, I don't think there's no. I mean, there's maybe movies I end up watching, but I don't have any like on Thanksgiving we always put this one on, or like none of that. But I think this might be like I said before, I'm getting more into Halloween every year though, or just like the season. So
love it.
Maybe it'll kick it off with this.
This is a good way to kick off your annual movies and the Halloween season period.
Yes, loving it.
Dude, that's great.
I will be maybe it's like an October 1st thing every year. I don't know. It's the first weekend in October, maybe thing.
It's kind of like gears you up for the fall season, Halloween season. That is good because it's not like a specifically Halloween movie, but it's definitely got that vibe.
Mm-hmm. That's why I like spooky season rather than like
spooky
I'm not like huge on Halloween.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The more general Halloween's a part of it, but it's so much bigger than that.
It is. You're totally right.
I mean, the whole month is a holiday over here. So
yeah, maybe September and October is 2 months, but
2 months
I mean, spooky
slowly becomes the whole year.
Spooky is one of my favorite words. So it's such a great word.
Spooky.
It is.
So you said what? 9.5 or 9.25?
9.25 toes.
Okay. Sweet. Joe.
Yeah, I really liked this one too. I'm kind of struggling how to rate it though, because I feel like the things I typically like in movies is all story driven. And like I said, like, I don't think this was like a particularly strong story, but it was still so interesting that it's like, it's not like I didn't enjoy it. Like I really liked it. So like, I feel like just like, I feel like I can't put it up next to like some of the like the hot fuzz that have like a really funny, really good story. Yeah. Spider-Man 3. But I don't know, but I did really like it. So like, I'm a little torn, but I think I got to go like I hate rating 8s, but I think I got to give it an 8 because I really liked it, but I can't put it in the like top tier of movies I like. But like, I agree. I think this would be like an annual watch and, holds up over time. Like, so I think I'm going to go with probably 8 like golf balls through the window. Because I don't know why. I just always think that's really funny. And how like you can just do that and be like, damn you, Addams.
Yeah. I did. It's a great one to start off with. And he's like, don't worry about it. You can keep it. I've got a whole bucket.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think I got to go with an 8.
Sweet. Good stuff. For me, this is in our annual rotation. So for October movie, spooky season movies, according to Jesse. Jesse, you should trademark that term. Spooky. I mean, it's already a term, but you should trademark it.
Just come in and trademark things that everyone says. You guys heard it first. Don't say it. Otherwise, you'll be money.
That's me. I love this movie. It's so funny. It's a very good genre blender. The blending of genres. I think it's really good. Obviously it's more of a comedy. There's like no horror in it, but it's still got that horror. I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like people who are like the bad guys. It's almost like living in their heads, because in their heads they're not bad people. They're just funny and like fun to themselves. And I think that's what we're like living in their heads. Because if we were like living in the banker's perspective, like this would be scary. But I feel like it's like, no, we're supposed to laugh because we're in the heads of the Addams family, which I think is hilarious. And there's no other way you could tell the story. Like, I don't know. I mean, I wish we had some more like little random skits in here, and like the story obviously wasn't there, but I just think it's so good. The cast is perfect. I'm really glad this was in the 90s, because if it was like modern, I feel like it wouldn't be the same effect.
I agree.
It's perfect. Like it's awesome. And then Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm always going to say more horror, but then again, I don't think this would be the same movie if it was scary. I think it can't be scary. The Addams Family is supposed to be funny and like goofy, so I glad it wasn't horror, even though that's what I want. I'm glad it wasn't because it wouldn't be the same. And yeah, I think this is the music's iconic. I just love that there's like a family that can be horror-esque, goth-esque that is kind of mainstream because I feel like that always kind of gets
the Addams Family would be that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
people love them. It's like I'm trying to think of a way to say this. People who aren't into like that goth stuff or any of the horror Halloween stuff, I feel like they love the Addams Family, which I'm like, okay, cool. It's kind of like a good way to kind of combine.
It bridges those two.
It bridges people and certain interests together, and I think that's cool because and I think the Munsters do the same thing. But the Addams Family I think is way more popular.
Monsters is like second tier. Addams Family.
But I think I'm gonna go 8.5 locks of Cousin Knit's hair.
That guy was so random.
I love Cousin Knit.
Call me.
But I think you're right, Joe. I'm the same way where this isn't like a 10 for me. It's a great, I'm gonna watch this every spooky season. I love it, but it's just not a 10 for me, but great movie.
Yeah, I just think based on the framework of what I'm looking for out of a movie, this isn't it, but it's totally not that I didn't enjoy this movie.
Right.
You know? It's which is like
high.
Yeah, like which is like unique. I don't know. I just think it's unique when you can get a movie to just be like, wow, this was like super random, but I loved it. You know, I feel like usually when you get a really random movie, it's just like, what did I just watch? You know, like,
right.
Yeah, like there's two sides of the spectrum.
Yeah. And I definitely think you're right. You're both right where it holds up today 100%. And I would be really curious to see the show. It makes me want to watch the show because, I mean, from what I've read and what people's reactions are, like the movie does really good justice for the show. Like there's a lot of hints to the show and the comic and everything, allegedly. So I'd be really curious to see the show.
I have to go
I'm locking in a 9.5.
Woo!
We're going back to the original.
Up.
Let's go. I love it.
All right.
Cool. That's great. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to get into news or because we kind of talked about locations already, but
yeah, let's do some movie news.
Well, this is perfect actually. Tim Burton's doing an Addams Family Netflix series.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be awesome. I am excited for that.
So Jenna Ortega is playing Wednesday. It's called Wednesday. It's about basically Wednesday. Jenna Ortega is playing Wednesday. Catherine Zeta-Jones is playing Morticia, which will be good because she's great. This one is interesting. Luis Guzman is playing Gomez, who I really like, but not the typical Gomez that you would expect. And I know that the announcement was like, some people were really mad about it. Some people were like, oh no, this is how it's supposed to be. I don't know. I'm very curious to see how he plays it because he's a really funny actor, but like he doesn't to me like come off as like a Gomez Addams. So I'd be really curious to see how he handles that. And Luis Guzman is like, you would recognize him if you saw him.
I just typed him in and I'm like,
Okay.
oh yeah, absolutely.
He's in like Longest Yard, I think, and he's in like those random movies.
He's in like everything. It feels like.
He's got a lot of random parts, and he's hilarious. But I also do think, like going along with that, since the show is called Wednesday, it's literally about Wednesday. I don't think they're going to be a main part. They'll probably have a pretty side presence.
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll see. But I'd be really curious to see how that's going to go. And then Thora Birch is in it, so we'll see.
Interesting. Sounds like it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I have hopes.
We'll see. I mean,
for it.
always down for more Addams Family. So, and they actually the second animated movie, I think the trailer just came out. I think it's coming out soon. I don't know. I haven't seen the animated movies.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I almost accidentally watched those.
I would have loved if you
search for Addams Family and that one started playing.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned it a little earlier, but there's this really interesting documentary on Nickelodeon on Hulu about like the early day, like the start of it, and just how like it's so interesting looking back to you. Like you always knew it was kind of weird and different, but when you now look at it, like grown up, and then hear about all the people starting it, and how they were like starting it as the anti-Disney and stuff, it like makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
But it's really interesting. But the thing I wanted to mention, well, anyone has any connection to Nickelodeon, it's worth watching. But the thing that came full circle is, remember on the Royal Tenenbaums episode, we looked up who did the music, and it was this guy named Mark Mothersbaugh.
Mhm.
And we were like, oh, crazy. And then, it was like he did like Yo Gabba Gabba and the Rugrats. And then like he also did Rushmore and stuff. But he came up in this because he's from Devo, the Whip It Real Good group.
Oh, no.
With the red cone hat things.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's like one of the head people of Devo. Like super interesting electronic, like interesting. And Nickelodeon, like for Rugrats and stuff, they were like, we want this guy to do it, the Devo guy.
I love that.
And he actually was like, yeah, I'm all for, they didn't think they could get him. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, let's do it. And so he did a ton of like Nickelodeon.
Oh, that's so cool.
Stuff. And, and the Wes Anderson movies, but yeah, funny full circle. But yeah,
That's
he's
really
from
cool.
He's from Devo.
Oh, wow. Fun fact. That's really cool. About it.
Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I haven't seen this yet, but I like to have a soft spot for the James Bond movies. And the last Daniel Craig one, I think it's the last one, just came out. So I do want to see that at some point.
Yes, we'd love to go see that as well.
Oh, the one that COVID's been pushing it back.
Yeah, No Time to Die.
Yeah. I'm always a sucker for James Bond. I'll go see it for sure.
Like that's one of the ones that like I feel like I can go just turn my brain off and like, just enjoy it,
For sure.
But it's kind of, I mean, I'm actually excited for new James Bonds, but like Daniel Craig, we've talked about this, like is my James Bond, because it was like our growing up. So it's like I feel like I have to watch it, even if I don't want to watch James Bond, just because it's like the end of an era.
Right. I get that. That's how I for sure get that.
Did they announce the next James Bond?
No, I don't think so.
There's just always talks.
There's rumors all the time.
Oh,
it's like different actors. Should it be a female Bond? Do we be like a kid? Like there's this whole thing. There's a lot of other stuff.
Like Idris Elba forever.
Yeah, he was. Tom Hiddleston was a big one. Who else? Well, Armie Hammer was. Well, no, he was in rumor for Batman, but then that all stuff came out about Armie Hammer. He won't work anymore. Did you hear about that,
Addams
Joe?
Family, though.
That's true. Joe, did you hear about Armie Hammer?
No.
Do you know who that is?
No.
So have you known the Social Network, the Winklevoss twins?
Yeah.
He is the Winklevoss twins.
Okay.
He's the Winklevi. But they just apparently Hollywood's known this for a while, but apparently he's like a cannibal, and he
has like some cannibalistic
tendencies. Yeah. But he like messages like underage, like he's just a weirdo creep. So he probably won't work again.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
The Social Network, great movie.
Social Network is so good.
Not good for Jesse Eisenberg.
We're gonna have to watch that movie on this podcast at some point because that'd be a really fun one to talk about.
It is a good one.
I saw Malignant, the new James Wan movie. It was
the new James Bond movie.
Yeah, new James Bond.
We know we just talked about.
It's in theaters, but I wasn't able to go see it, so I watched it on my projector here. It's on HBO now. Very interesting. I would be actually curious to hear what you guys think about it. It's paranormal, but it's also like it's got a lot of it very reminds me of like 90s, late 90s, early 2000s kind of James Wan, like Saw, but not like brutal like Saw. It's like it's kind of got a bunch of different movies weaved into one. It's very interesting though. I'd be really curious to hear what you, at least I don't know, because maybe Joe, you're more open to it, but I would be really curious to hear what you guys think about it, because it's weird. It's a very strange story, but I like it. I thought it was fun. It wasn't his best movie in my opinion, but he did something new and it kind of went back to his roots, which I kind of appreciated. So it was fun. It was a good time. It was just classic James Wan.
I'm game to give it a go.
Yeah. And then I'm rewatching the Insidious trilogy, or now there's a fourth one, but watching those because.
What do you call a series with four?
It just
franchise,
was thinking,
right? Franchise,
a quadrilogy, a quadrilogy.
anything above 3 is a franchise to me, but I don't know if that's wrong.
Yeah, I think we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
We did kind of get into this, but
then again, what do you call just 2 movies? A sequel and an original?
by
A duquel?
I just say a sequel. Yeah.
I guess it's true.
a die picked.
I picked part 1 and 2. I don't know. That's tricky. And then, I started watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer because I've never seen it before.
Oh,
Classic. If you guys haven't seen it, it is a very 90s, 2000s. It's great. It's got the music. It's got that. It's almost like the Goosebumps, but a little more production value, of course. But it's great. It's fun. I've never seen it, so I'm excited to watch it through all the way because that's very up my alley.
into it.
Yeah.
Do you have other big what's on the docket for October?
Dude, there's so many. And
The top 3 ones you
Pick-
make sure to watch every October.
Well, picking the next movie for this is going to be very hard. I have like 3 that I really want to pick, but I only get 1. So this is very tough for me.
Actually, after Tusk, you lost a pick.
I know. I kind of want to like, I wish I picked a different movie, but I mean, if I might pick one of these, I might not, but like obviously Halloween and Donnie Darko is one that I watch every October because that's a very good Halloween movie. Scream.
The original Halloween?
Yeah. I mean, all of them, but
okay.
House of a Thousand Corpses that's in my rotation. The Conjuring. There's so many. I could go all day.
Okay. All right.
Casper. Solid flick.
Casper.
Beetlejuice.
Because like we were talking about this, like I don't know. For me, it's like it's really hard for a movie to capture. Like they can capture a fall atmosphere, but Halloween is really hard to capture. I feel like really well. Like there's a Halloween vibe that people do, but it's like I don't know. It's hard to get. It's hard to get that nostalgia Halloween vibe. And I think there's a Australian film called Boys in the Trees, which I might pick at some point too. And it's really good, but they capture that atmosphere so well. And I don't know. It's a hard thing to do.
Boys in the Tree.
Great movie. Yep. But other than that, I think that's everything for me. Just stoked for October, man. We're so close. 4 days away.
It started.
Great pick for the first one, though.
Ever since I have watched a YouTube trailer of a movie, I get recommended in my YouTube recommendations. There's always one new trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It's A24 Netflix, and it's just there's just endless movie trailers now,
dude. It's insane.
And I feel again, it's just it's a different world in terms of not having to go to the theater to see everything. And it's I guess it's probably good that more things are being made, but it's an overwhelming amount just in everything.
It is, dude. It
and
really is.
Anything you try to do now, it's just here's a billion choices.
I agree. It's there's pros and cons, because the pros is that all these filmmakers can release their stuff. People can make films and be I could submit it to Amazon or Hulu or whatever, and they'll release it. On the other hand, you're right. There's too many choices. It's and then I don't know. Part of me is going back, so Halloween Kills is coming out on Peacock at the same time. I mentioned this last time, but it's I think that's great because people are going to be able to watch it. But then again, it's it's another way of diverting people from going to the theater, which I get if you're uncomfortable because it's still COVID. So I totally get that. But I don't know. I just hope it doesn't I hope this doesn't I hope it continues, because I do like the option to have it, but I hope it's not every movie.
Just hope it doesn't kill the theaters. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it will, but I
don't think it will either.
It would be interesting to go into it sometime, but it's I heard the term, someone was we're leaving the era, or we've already left the era of monoculture. And there's no going back of how back in the day, there'd be the 3 TV shows and everyone in society kind of knew. And there was a few books that everyone knew, and the movies that were out. Everyone kind of knew what movies were in theaters, or you'd heard of one or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that in just every field, we've kind of left that, where now there's just everything's just a subgroup, but you could be so unaware of something that's huge, in someone else's.
100%.
And it's overwhelming. And I don't like it because it's change.
There's pros and cons.
But, yeah.
I mean, I like it because I get to watch more content. if I'm ever bored, I'm just like on Shudder or something, I'll just throw a random movie on because like usually those are pretty good. And it's like just from this random person who's like, oh, I'm gonna make a horror movie, and it might be good, it might not be good. It's like, all right, I don't know. It's kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm for it. I would never fight to change it. It's kind of more just is what it is. But
Yeah.
It is just interesting going forward. The the level of, or like the like Oscars and stuff is still like the last kind of like mono part of like, like there's a subset at least that we all know as like the Oscar movies,
Right.
or what will be. But the Emmys also happened since last time, which I
gonna
was
say.
gone. I didn't even realize they were that night. I was actually out in New Jersey, didn't watch them. I do like watching those.
It was fun.
Right.
They put on a good show. I mean, it was good. Bo Burnham won 3 out of 5 that he was nominated for.
Oh, he won 3?
Yep.
I literally do not know any.
So they only, for the Emmys, they only do like one night of like there's like a certain amount they do, and the rest they just announce after.
Yeah.
Online. And he was only like nominated on screen once, which he didn't win. It was like best direct. It was something best. I don't know.
Oh,
but he was nominated like on the show for one of them at least. But he was nominated for 5 total, and he won 3. So good for him.
Pretty cool. Good
Yeah.
for him. Also, because this came up before, but when he did 8th grade and he got a Screen Actors Guild Award, but he wasn't in the Oscars for it. And he went up to accept the award, and he just said, "Have fun at the Oscars, losers."
I saw this post, or I saw a couple of posts of this. Like, so Hamilton beat out his for like best. I think it was best like feature. It was something best like TV movie. It was something like that. And it was so funny. Someone was like this guy was sat in a room for a year, with his own lights and one camera and all this stuff, and Hamilton beat him out. Like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I just think like me and Jojo were talking about this. Like, obviously he got 3, which is really nice, and it was a huge success, and so many people talked about it. But I feel like somehow it's still like underrated.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I didn't even know he was nominated, and it's huge that he is, because
Huge.
also to think, I mean, he was Bo Burnham before, but to think like one person made something in their room, like almost totally by themselves, and then won Emmys for it.
It's ridiculous.
Also, I realized I've been saying Oscars and thinking Oscars, and we're talking Emmys.
Now we know.
But yeah, I mean, crazy. I just love that stuff. Like one time during the Grammys when 21 Pilot won, I think they like went up there and they pulled their pants down. So they were just in their underwear, and they did their whole like, literally last year we were sitting in our basement in our underwear, like in our grandma's house, watching the Grammys. And now we're on stage.
I love that story. Those stories.
Yeah.
I feel like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, like when they won Good Will Hunting, like they were just like kids, like they were freaking college kids. Like,
I thought you meant like now. I was like, no, I think they're like pretty big movies.
No. But it was funny. Their Oscar speech is so funny. Like they were just like they're such like kids. It's great.
I just said to Matt, losing would suck and winning would be really scary, and it's really, really scary. We're just really 2 young guys who were fortunate enough to be involved with a lot of great people whom it's coming upon us to, there's no way we're doing this in less than 20 seconds, upon whom it's incumbent of us to thank. Harvey Weinstein, who believed in us and made this movie, Gus Van Sant for brilliant direction, Robin Williams, who delivered such great lines, Minnie Driver, whose performance was brilliant, Stellan Skarsgård, who was great. Your brother. My brother Casey, who's brilliant in the movie. Cole Hauser, my mother,
John
and Matt's mother, the most beautiful women here.
My dad right over there.
And
Jack said hi to you.
And
All right.
who else?
John Gordon from Miramax.
John Gordon. Chris Moore produced the movie. And
Chris Moore.
Patrick Weitzel, the best agent in Hollywood.
Yeah,
and,
Patrick Weitzel.
And Cuba Gooding for showing us how to give our acceptance speech. And
all our friends and family. And everybody back in Boston watching us tonight.
And thank you so much, the city of Boston. And God, I know we're forgetting somebody.
Whoever we forgot, we love you and we
love you. Thank you so much.
But I love those stories.
Yeah.
It's so cool. But yeah, it was fun to watch. I don't know. I'm not a show person. I knew the shows, but I didn't like watch them all.
I wish it was a thing that, wouldn't be insane to be like, I think I'm going to rewatch the Oscars from last week.
I know.
That feels really weird.
I've honestly done that a couple times. Yeah. Like I've watched like parts of it from like, I haven't really found the whole episode, but I've like watched parts of like speeches and other stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
I'll probably do that. But
It's fun. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I think that's about it. Anything else you guys have?
I don't think so. Spooky season's begun.
Kicking it off right.
Yep.
Love it.
All right. Well, that's a wrap.
If anyone catches the error in the last episode, leave it in the comments. Leave it.
There's a little hint for you if you're watching on YouTube.